It will be another good year, growth around 4% of the GDP. That's quite satisfactory. Employment is rising, unemployment is coming down fast. We have actually set an ambitious aim to reach conditions of full employment by 2020. This will mark the full tackling of the last legacy problems of the crisis that we went through a few years back. So we are actually confident about the prospects of our economy, but at the same time down to earth in terms of realizing that this will not continue without effort and without consistency in this effort. So we are indeed enjoying solid growth, but we know that to maintain this growth, we must maintain a policy of never-ending change, a permanent reform effort. And being a recently re-elected government, we do have a full pipeline of new reforms, new policy initiatives, which are well ahead in their preparation, and they can be fast forwarded now. And it's a very broad spectrum. I mean, to give you an example, one of the areas where we shall be prioritizing is judicial reform. We want to improve the efficiency of our court system. We are an international business center. Having an efficient and effective judiciary is a prerequisite, and we have identified shortcomings, we have identified delays, so we have prepared the reform framework, working closely with experts from Ireland actually, and we are commencing on that effort. This is one example. We are also reviewing the governance structure for our tourist industry. Tourism is obviously the number one industry, an industry which has spearheaded the recovery of our economy. We have seen potential of this industry expand significantly. So, but again, we are not complacent about it, and so we are promoting reform, including a significant deregulation of aspects of the hotel and tourist industry, a new executive department for tourism. These are examples of what is actually a very full agenda for our government, which we shall continue to promote in order to ensure exactly that the solid growth will be maintained on a medium to long-term horizon. Improving the pro-business environment, improving circumstances for new business and new investment. So everything relates to promoting investment, enhancing the competitiveness of our economy, because investment, new business means growth, and ultimately that's the aim of economic policy. That's the key objective of government policy. So maintaining macroeconomic stability, maintaining sound public finances, sticking to our policy of balanced budgets, not having to raise taxes, instead being able to promote tax breaks and incentives as we have been doing, overseeing and facilitating the full healing of the banking sector. All these are nothing but means towards promoting Cyprus as a business-friendly jurisdiction, as a country where investment opportunities can be identified and can be materialized in a number of sectors: tourism, energy, and education is also one of the sectors where we are witnessing significant new investment. Private higher education, private universities is one of the most significant success stories of the last few years. It's a broad effort, a very wide spectrum of economic sectors which are under our attention, always aiming to improve the economic environment. We have prepared a new legal framework which has been recently ratified, constitutes rather a decisive step for Cyprus in the direction of becoming an attractive, competitive fund management center. So our legal framework has been reformed. It has become more credible, more attractive, and we are already witnessing an influx of funds under management in Cyprus. This is a new subsector, let's say, of the business and financial services sector of Cyprus, which is obviously yet another strategically important sector, one which has shown resilience, adaptability, and as part of this adaptability, we are seeing moves into a sector which was not so much developed so far, fund management, but now with the new legal framework being ratified, we expect to see very good progress. The sector is undergoing a healing process, and there is still some way to go, but progress has in fact been significant. I mean, we did go through a boom and bust revolving around the banking sector, which saw an unsustainable credit expansion during the pre-crisis period. But as I said, it is going through a healing process. Supervision is becoming all the more demanding at EU level, so our own banks also have to move fast. Consolidation of the banking sector is, I think, the key word in Cyprus, probably I would say across the EU. So we have in fact seen such steps in the direction of consolidation. The COP Hellenic deal, a merger essentially, is a step in this direction, which also helps in fully stabilizing the banking sector, putting behind the bad banking practices which were regrettably a feature of our banking sector in the past, and one which has created a cost which we continue to carry to an extent. But such moves are important in the sense that they signify a break with the past, and in fact they constitute decisive steps in creating a healthier, stronger banking sector based on much more solid foundations. Sustained a one-off spike on our public debt. On the other hand, it remains on a clearly downwards trend. We are operating with a balanced budget since 2014. In fact, we actually enjoy surplus budgets, so there is no new deficit being created. Also, our GDP is expanding, so the ratio of debt to the GDP is also coming down for this reason also. So we are actually very confident that this one-off spike on the public debt will not have any negative impact on debt sustainability, especially taking into consideration that the government-owned asset management company will be established through this transaction, and this will basically ensure a new revenue stream for the government, which will be more than enough to cover for the additional debt servicing costs. Tackling the legacy problem of NPLs is, I think, a priority, and making a decisive step in this direction, even at a cost to our debt, was a right policy decision, a difficult decision, but an appropriate one. And I have to say that on the back of these decisions, we have secured 2 rating upgrades. Obviously, the rating agencies taking note of the broader benefits of this transaction despite the spike on the debt. We want to promote some improvements in our legal framework relating to foreclosures, insolvency, sale of loans, processes to make them more effective and efficient. So that's one priority. Establishing an asset management company and transferring to it a good enough chunk of these old non-performing loans is another priority. And let me clarify on this point that the asset management company will be state-owned, but it will not be state-managed, of course. So we shall be working with a specialized private servicer who will undertake the management of these assets, primarily the non-performing loans. So we expect that this will ensure the credibility and the professionalism which is needed to ensure the successful functioning of any asset management company, taking note of other successful examples in the Eurozone. On the back of these initiatives, we would also not rule out other sales of non-performing loans by banks, transferring essentially of NPLs from the balance sheets of the banks to asset management companies, including private ones. The banking sector is becoming able to sustain the cost of such a transfer. So we expect to see progress also in this way. Financing should be channeled carefully on the basis of sound procedures and good evaluation. This does not mean that credit is not available. In fact, credit also to SMEs is available, and we have been able to offer support in this direction, working very closely with the EIB, the EU Bank, and we have a major joint scheme between the EIB, the banking sector and the government, which participates through the offering of government guarantees for a very significant SME financing scheme. And this has been a tremendous success, and there has been very significant financing to SMEs over the last few years, and this is yet another reason for the successful recovery of the Cyprus economy. We're fully supportive, fully behind this initiative. In fact, we believe that completing the Capital Markets Union should be one of the top priorities of the EU under the current circumstances. So I do hope that at EU level we shall be able to make good progress to move forwards and to complete the Capital Markets Union, because indeed it will unleash significant potential and significant financing and investment opportunities across the EU. This should not, of course, this should not be interpreted as an initiative which will see unnecessary centralization and shifting of competences from the member states to the center more than it's necessary. So also on the Capital Markets Union, the very sound principle of subsidiarity should apply. But I repeat, once again, a very important initiative, and we are fully behind it.